This one right here specifically, we got to get to this because he's officially been indicted. He's been charged. He has a true bill by the jury. Let's talk about what he's charged with. I'm going to roll down the indictment, give you my thoughts and my opinions. They done hit your boy Luigi about 11 times, slapped him up good with some charges. Let's talk about what they are. Before we get into that, welcome back to the channel. Shout out to the new subscribers. Listen, I'm so blessed. I appreciate you guys so much. I love the comments. Thank you so much for the compliments. You guys, I'm truly passionate about crime and investigating and just criminal theory as a whole. So this is my wheelhouse. Like, I like to talk about other topics, but you guys, this is where I shine, right? So anyways, thank you so much for all the love and support. So let's dive into this thing, and let's see, what is he actually being charged with, and I'm gonna give you my thoughts. First and foremost, let's talk about the charges. He has first degree murder, okay? 2 counts of second degree murder, but they're specific charges. One is for crime of terrorism. All right, I thought that was a very interesting charge. We're going to read that charge. And then the rest of these are all, he has 2 counts of possession of a weapon in the second degree. One is the fact that he was armed. One is the fact that he had a manufactured ghost gun. Okay, that's a separate charge. And the third one, and there's like 3 of the third degree. So we'll go through those. And then, of course, lastly, we have felony possession instrument. This is going to be forged instrument, which is going to be the ID, the fraudulent ID that they claim he had and that he presented. Okay, so those are the charges in the indictment. Let's actually figure out what they all are. I've already highlighted everything, but we're going to go through it together. All right. Okay. The people of the state of New York versus Luigi Mangione. Okay. First is first, to get right to it. Murder in the first degree. Okay. Basically, the victim, as we know, Brian Thompson, said the person was killed in furtherance of an act of terrorism involving a violent act and acts dangerous to human life that were in violation of the criminal laws of the state, and where the intended to intimidate or coerce civilian population, influence the policies of a unit of government by intimidation or coercion, or after the conduct of a unit of government by murder, assassination, and kidnapping. So people were asking, why wasn't he hit with first degree? He's hit with first degree now. It's first degree murder. That's the charge. Second count, we're looking at murder in the second degree as a crime of terrorism. They are charging him with essentially terrorism. I've never seen this charge before, but this is interesting. With intent to intimidate or coerce a civilian population. Okay. Influence the policy of unit. Basically, what they're saying with this is, you committed murder for the sake of creating terror, right, amongst the populace. One could argue that some people are saying, this is kind of a silly charge, but when you think about it, look at the impact his action has had, not just from the government perspective, but corporate America. It's pushed terror all throughout corporate America. Some would say, yeah, it's needed, right, from all the corruption. But you guys, let's be clear. Murder is not the answer, okay? I don't condone what he did. I want to be very clear on that. I don't condone what he did at all, nor do I think he's a hero. I think if he is if he is the shooter, if he did do this, because he's innocent until proven guilty, I think that he's too intelligent to have used this way as the only way to carry this out, to actually fix and correct this problem. So I don't agree with the method if that is what the case is. All right. But did his action spark terror? Okay, maybe in a certain group, because a lot of people are actually uplifting him. They're celebrating him. There's posters with him looking like, like kind of Christ-like, right? They got like that whole old school Italian Catholic drip, okay? He got the hands with the prayers up. People are idolizing. People are worshiping him, right? People are calling him a savior, okay? And so he sparked this movement almost like this V for Vendetta type thing. And I think the messaging he wanted to get out is definitely needed. The attention that it deserves to get, the corruption and all the fraud that's taking place within not just healthcare, but a lot of these industries, all of them actually, trying to expose and try to be a whistleblower. This needs to fit a lot of things. Everything needs to change in this country. All right, everything needs to change. There's no excuse for why things are the way they are in this country. All right, so I get him wanting to bring attention. I just don't think he went about it the right way. So did it spark terror? Maybe terror in the one percenters, right? Because the only people I've heard of being afraid in this moment are the actual people. They're taking down photos of different CEOs and making sure they're getting, certain type of protection detail. Honestly, no, just treat people right. Do your job properly, treat people right. And you won't really have to worry about that, right? You be king amongst men. So the terror, the terror is one-sided though. I'll say that. The population isn't. This charge might not even stick, you guys, because the only people in fear is not the population. It's like a specific group of people. So I don't know. We'll see how they try to pull it off. Third count, murder in the second degree again. This is simply just the fact that he caused the death, right? This one was with the intent to cause death. Another person died. All right, so basically that's just what this one is. The fourth count, criminal possession of a weapon in the second degree. This one reads, possessed a loaded firearm with the intent to use the same unlawfully against another person. Basically, you used the gun and you shot somebody, all right, or you intended to, but you used it, it was loaded, and you had the intent to shoot somebody. So that's that charge. Okay, count 5. Okay, criminal possession of a weapon in the second degree. Again, this particular code section is possessed a loaded firearm. Possession, said possession not being in defendant's house or place of business. So I don't know New York law like that. Okay, I know Georgia's law pretty well. New York law, I guess they're saying, because you can't really have a gun in New York, from my understanding. You really can't mess with guns. So this is saying that maybe you're only allowed to have guns in your house or place of business. So this charge is you violated that because you took the gun out of your house or place of business. So that's this charge. All right, simply put. 6th count, criminal possession of a weapon in the third degree. This one's saying that he possessed an assault weapon. I don't know. This kind of seems a little extra, right? I think these charges are a little too fluffy for me, unnecessary. Let's get to the meats and potatoes. The gun, the homicide, all right, and the ID if you want to throw that in there. But the gun, homicide, ID, all this other fluff is unnecessary. Criminal possession, count 7. Criminal possession of a weapon in the third degree. This one is specifically for the silencer that was attached. And apparently the silencer was actually created, is what I'm hearing. And I'm hearing different things. I told you guys I don't know anything about 3D guns. So apparently the silencer, from what one news agency was saying, is that the silencer was also 3D printed. All right. So this charge is for the silencer. Silencers or suppressors, you guys, you have to have a special permit to have that, right? If you're not in government in that field, you're a civilian and you want a suppressor, you got to file paperwork with the ATF to get that. You just can't be rolling around with it like that. Count number 8, criminal possession of a weapon in the third degree. I don't even know what that means. It seems like just this kind of foolish. Basically saying the defendant possessed a Glock magazine. That's a charge in New York. Jesus Christ. So, okay, good to know. Don't go to New York with a Glock magazine. 9th count, criminal possession of a weapon in the third degree again. This is a Magpul magazine. Basically, possessed a large capacity ammunition feeding device. Jeez. So essentially, this is like you're being charged with gun accessories. Okay, is basically what this looks like to me. So they're charging him for everything they can. The 10th count, criminal possession of a weapon in the 4th degree. God, dog, how many degrees they got? What is this? This is not being a licensed gunsmith or dealer in firearms pursuant to penal law such and such, and knowing that it was a ghost gun, possessed a ghost gun. Okay, So basically, having the ghost gun is a separate charge within itself. I wonder if we have a separate charge for ghost guns in the Georgia law book. I have to look that up. So that's 10th count. Lastly, 11th count is criminal possession of a forged instrument in the second degree. Basically, this is just the ID. Okay, he had the ID and he presented it. He used it. That's forgery. Those are the charges. So, I mean, nothing too fancy. A lot of fluff, too much fluff, I think. Not really a big fan of the DA in New York, to be honest with you. But does he have a solid case? I think they have a lot of evidence. You saw the video that I did in reference to Luigi's attorney, powerhouse attorney. I've heard some people saying not so much, but again, you guys, the damage is done in the courtroom. And again, like I said, what is her move next? Okay, now she knows the charges, she knows what she's up against. She's going to put experts together. You need a team of experts. I'm pretty sure she already has a group of people that she works with. She knows the DA's office in and out. This is going to be a walk in the park for her as it relates to that. She knows the weaknesses and strengths of that department. She knows where the kinks in the armor is in that department. And she has leverage. She has a lot of network. But she's not a magician. Okay? She's not a magician. What does that mean? That means that though she might have access and things of that nature, doesn't mean she can create miracles, okay? You have to wait and see where the mistakes have been. Your experts will do that. She can hire me, put me on the case. I guarantee you I'm going to find some slip-ups, okay? But there's a lot of things going on in this case, you guys. I've talked about it already in the previous videos. We're not going to recap too much on those. But what does she have to focus on? She has to focus on his face, all right? That's the image that was released. That's going to be a big deal. You're going to have maybe like facial experts. There's question whether or not, how do we even know that's a man that is the shooter? Or it could be a woman, right? No one's talking about that. You have the clothing that's different in different pictures. That's a thing that needs to be addressed. You have how the evidence was actually collected, when it was collected, how it was collected. You have, of course, you have the cell phone. We don't know what phone calls were made in that phone. They're definitely going to be working on that. You have the bottle that was bought at Starbucks. You have the kind wrapper, whatever he was eating, the suspect was eating. He left that. Okay, we saw him walking. He left that. He just placed it down near some trash. That's caught on camera. You have a lot of things that are caught on camera, a lot of evidence that was just so gracefully placed, okay, where it's just obvious and cameras are present, yet there's no real cameras catching the suspect's face, I don't think, at any really point in time after the actual crime was committed. That's a thing too. The thing that's going to come into question is, of course, as an attorney, you're going to want to what? Discredit the fact that the shooter's not my client. You could easily say, my client's been set up. As the state, you need to prove, right, that you need to prove it. My job is to provide the doubt. Then you have to now try to counteract that. Okay, what I'm going to be saying is all type of wild stuff. Okay, all type of wild stuff, And my thing is, we don't know what Luigi knows, how Luigi's actually involved. If he's set up, why is he being set up? All these things need to come out. And I think as we hear his side of the story, I think the other side of the story will start making a lot more sense. What is going to be her strategy to combat the evidence, you guys? I don't know. And people are like, oh, all this mountain of evidence, like I said before, you guys, this is where attorneys and law firms, this is where they shine, okay? Again, it's not about the mountain of evidence. It's about how good are you at your job, okay? And so we've seen mountain of evidence against like an O.J. Simpson, and we saw how that went down, okay? Honestly, there's a lot of directions you could take this case in reference to how you're going to combat the evidence from the bottle, the smudge fingerprint, all these different things. People brought up and try to compare the Brian Kohlberger case, the one where the suspect killed all those kids. It's so crazy. But the evidence gathering is being put to question now, that the evidence on the genealogy testing was done illegally, okay? And listen, you guys, That's the heart. Like I explained to you in the previous video, that's the heart of their evidence. If they can prove that they illegally obtained that genealogy evidence, you guys, the case is done. He's gonna walk, whether you like it or not. He will walk. I've seen people walk on administrative mistakes. Okay, I've seen people walk because officers have made mistakes and violated people's constitutional rights. I mean, you can see the body in the trunk, but you pop the trunk without permission, without a warrant. It's done. The person walks, you guys. I'm telling you, I've seen it. Okay, and you have to be careful. You can't get overzealous when investigating these high-profile cases, because if you do and make a mistake, the evidence is done. They're throwing it out, and it sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, it happens. So, you know, the attorney, she's going to be looking for these things. She's going to be looking for these mishaps, all right? Somebody slips up, she's going to take advantage of it, I'm telling you. So, and we don't know, right? There's still that correlation with the monopoly theme. You know, this whole theme, and people are sending me messages, yeah, monopoly is a theme about greed, about, you know, capitalism. But it is about greed, and it is about capitalism. And the money, and what the money symbolizes, the number 286, and, you know, people are saying, hey, you know, from the incident to where he was located is 286 miles, right? Approximately. Okay, the theme with 286, you guys, these families, these occult groups or whatever, these secret society families, they're these long families that have history stretching way back to damn 1700s. You guys, they do a lot of stuff with numbers, right? They're just into numbers. Everything has a meaning. Numbers have meaning. Numbers have power. Like everything just has purpose. But everything he's doing is aligning with something, and it all matches, right? You know, they once thought he was on the bus. Then it's like, no, he took the train. He had to take the train. Which train? He take Pennsylvania Railroad, right? Took the Pennsylvania Railroad to McDonald's. McDonald's connection with Monopoly. The reason why Monopoly ended up separating from McDonald's was because of greed, okay? Like there's a story behind that, how that whole franchise partnership ended up falling apart. What else? How much money he had, we don't know. All right. Someone sent me a scripture via email saying, read Proverbs 286. You guys, Proverbs 286 is talking about, you know, greed. So it just seems like there's this connection to everything with 286. And it seems like the clues and the correlation with these clues as to what's really trying to be said, and these messages being left for people who we don't know, maybe us to find out. He's using Monopoly as that tool in order to push a particular message. You know, so then I saw Pennsylvania Railroad, and then someone sent me a message and said, you know, the attorney that he just hired, guess what? Her office, the law office, is actually in Park Avenue, you guys. Park Avenue is a property you can buy on the Monopoly game. Listen, say what you want to say. I'm just pointing out the things that seem to make sense to me. All right, you guys can put it together. You guys are doing a great job. My junior detectives soon will be graduated, the way you guys keep sending me this stuff. So keep looking over this evidence, see what happens. These are the charges. Let me know what you think. Do they seem a little excessive, right? I think so. What's next? What do you think is next? What will Bragg do? Bragg is going to have his hands all over this. He reminds me like a black Peter Griffin. He's going to mess it up. All right, he's going to jack it up. I know he's going to drop the ball. All right. But anyways, let's see what happens, you guys. Let's stay close to this. Check out the video on the drones. You guys want to know my thoughts? Forgive me, it gets wild. Anyways, you guys, good night and God bless.